Hi, this is Piero. Yeah, I recently just had another conversation on free will with someone, and then I got a PM about it, so it's kind of a little coincidence that the subject's come up again, and I wanted to talk about will some more. First of all, I like to say, I think there's a certain degree of enlightenment evident in people that are doubting the will. I mean, to be able to doubt that is a good thing. I'm a skeptic. I value doubt. I think it's crucial to, if not inventing knowledge directly, it's crucial to giving us the flexibility to improve the knowledge we have. So if somebody can doubt will, which we experience every day, that's a very healthy form of doubt. And I think there's a certain amount of enlightenment. And I myself have done that. I think that our conception of will is almost entirely wrong. I mean, it doesn't work the way we say. I'll talk a little bit more about that toward the end of this video. But the first thing is this: the situation as I see it is that we experience will. We experience will, and to begin with, we sort of attributed will to everything: to animals, to plants, to rocks, to the universe, to nature. Belief in God is almost really just attributing will to phenomena in the natural world. Okay. But as we reduced things down and looked more closely, we saw that some of those attributions, at the very least, weren't like we thought. I mean, when we see a figure in a tree, it turns out it's not the spirit of a tree. It's just a kind of a cognitive thing, an interpretation. There's a term for that, but basically it's seeing a pattern where there isn't really one. We're putting that illusion into our perception somehow, and then by the time we get the perception processed in our mind, it's mixed in there. So we broke things down, we reduced things, and the problem is that we've reduced things down now to these parts, atoms, for example, and or quarks or whatever, but or at even higher levels, chemicals, and these things don't show to us anything like will. So we have the macroscopic world, where will is in evidence every day. There's experience of will all the time. But then we have this microscopic world where there's no evidence of will. We don't sense or see any experiences that look like will. We can see will in animals because we can see through their behavior that they don't act just directly as a result of the laws of physics. But on the microscopic world, things seem to react just directly to the laws of physics. And so where is the room for will? Okay. So we have will at the macroscopic level and not at the microscopic level. The idea then to get these together is there's really two options. One, we start seeing will in the microscopic world somehow, which we could just force in there if we want, but that's probably not what we want to do. We want to see it honestly without fooling ourselves. Or we can do what these anti-free will people are doing, and we can assert the lack of free will onto us. Okay, and that can be forced as well, and I think that's what's happening with the anti-free will people, is they're forcing onto us that there is no will because they see no will here. But it's just as fair, actually more fair, I think, to say no, there is will in those things, some sort of component of will. It might not look like will because sometimes things don't look like what they look like at the macroscopic world until you add them together. But why not force will the other way? I mean, to force a lack of will onto living creatures is as if to call them dead. Okay, and I don't like that. It doesn't seem healthy to me. Saying that the real world is full of will, well, we've got burned by that too. That's how we got a lot of our religious delusions. There was a lot of mistakes, but I think we've thrown the baby out with the bathwater when we remove a lot of the illusion and say, hey, it's all illusion. No, I believe there's a will there, and I'm still looking for the constituents in the microscopic world. Now, I said I would talk a little bit about how I think will works. And first of all, there's a couple things. I don't think the conscious mind really is in control of the will. I feel that I am because I also have unconscious parts, but the way I experience the will as a conscious part of myself is that urges come to me. And I think there's more than one will. I think wills come from all of the mental affects. Some are built in, some are conditioned, like built-in ones, lust and hunger. These are wills that come to us and say, go get food, go get a mate. Okay. And then, of course, we have similar things that we've learned that become like instinct to us. where the wills come to us. You learn to play piano, you might start feeling the impulse to play the piano. Okay, the conscious mind, on the other hand, is really kind of like not so much a filter, but there's an iterative process in thinking, like a circle. It's not a circle that repeats exactly, it's more like a spiral. It does change as it's circling around. And our consciousness, that's its component of the will, is that when these urges come, I'd like to play piano. The conscious mind has a bigger picture, besides the urge, the will part, and says, well, there's no piano around right now, or I really need to clean the house instead, Or it might say, well, I know where there's a piano we can use. And then the will modify its suggestion into, well, let's play piano later, or okay, let's go find that, or think harder, we need to find a piano, I really, really need that, and I can wait to clean my house. And it's sort of a conversation where the conscious mind's role is to pull up perceptions from the past and pull up broader perspectives and inform sort of a less enlightened part of the mind, the will, that is just there saying, well, I have an urge to do this. And the conscious mind is just filtering these and saying, well, you can't, or think of this, or here's the big picture, or there's an element of time, we have to do it later. And there's a kind of a conversation between the conscious mind, which is doing some perceptual processing, and the wills that just want to get things done. So, that's nothing like what most people think of the will. The will people think is, I command an action, and then things follow down. No, to me, we receive a will from outside.